Call the meeting to order. Start with the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Okay, the minutes have been distributed. May I get a motion to accept the minutes as distributed?
I'll move that.
I'll second. Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Citizens' comments. Are there any citizens tonight wishing to speak on town issues? Much going on already.
Fred Birch, Plainville Road. Just wanted to wish everybody an early Christmas and Happy New Year since it's the last meeting before then. Thank you for the time you gave me at the work study. When I discussed the parking lot area and the park issue during the work study, I mentioned that we had 110 car parking lot. We would lose it at most 10 spots to do, but we would gain the bike racks that are down in that area so they wouldn't have to park their bikes up by the spray park if they wanted to use just the regular play field and Spence Field, and also dedicated motorcycle spots. So we would gain that. We wouldn't have a motorcycle spot, parking in the spot and take up a whole vehicle spot. And we could do that. So 58 feet, that's awful close to ask two cars to point head to head and then squeeze in, and then try to get out with each other like. So now I wanted to, this is a comment section, not a question and answer, but if I could ask the board a question, why do you think it is that we allow or have PAC invite them here to record these meetings and then play them all week long and load them up to YouTube? I'd like to ask you that question. I know you won't answer, but I'm going to answer it anyways. We do that for, people have too busy a schedule and can't make it to the meetings but want to keep abreast of what's going on with the town. They could be pregnant and not able to make it. They could have kids and not get a babysitter. They could be sick and not be able to attend. They could have a busy work schedule, whatever it is. But so that's the reason why we have it. I'm sure you all would agree. Now, I appreciate you letting me use the whiteboard for demonstration purposes at the work study meeting, but I wanted to use that at the town board meeting because I think that's important to the board. I think it's important to our town. I think it would be an important improvement to our park. And for the life of me, I can't understand why the Lysander Town Board would ban the use of any tool or instrument that could better, an accepted tool in schoolrooms, boardrooms, business rooms, park rooms, all the above, engineer rooms. Jeff's not here, but I'll include that as well. Any tool that can better convey my thoughts, issues, concerns, grievances, ideas, or anybody else's to the board, or a planning board, or a court, if they happen to be in this. I don't understand why the board would not allow the usage of whiteboards, blackboards, poster board, anything like that, that could better convey our ideas, thoughts, grievances, ideas to you. And I think by not having it on the regular town board meeting, the people at home miss out on that. And I think as a lifelong resident of our town, and I was there my junior year when that park first came in, it was just a basketball court and tennis court, that's it. I think that park is important to us, and I think the improvements I suggested should be looked at seriously because I think they are important. How much time do I have left?
You have about 3 minutes.
Okay, that being said, last time I want to talk about rocks in the park. I was driving down there tonight and I'm like, come around the horn there and I was like, oh geez, they went and picked them up. They listened, and then I realized we only had 3 inches of snow. It was covering a lot of them. I didn't see them. But anyways, all jokes aside, my offer to the town is sincere, and I'll reiterate that. I have machinery that can pick that up, no damage to our lawns, any property, set in a spot where we can auction it for a lot of money to a landscaper, bring in with that money, buy things that we don't already have, like towable bleachers for soccer moms that wanna watch the games. Because I know we can get the proper rocks for that spot for free from all the wonderful farmers that we have in our town. And I'm willing to do it free of charge for the town. We can get glacier stones that are smooth, that are big. People can lean on them, sit on them. They're not gonna be falling onto them and tripping on them because they're already sitting on them and leaning on them. They look good in our park. We have them all over town and they look fantastic. And you can't move them. Every one of those rocks that are there in the park, I'll bet this town board my 1,000 versus 100 of the board's money, that's 20 bucks a piece versus 200 you get from me. I can move every single one of those rocks with just my body. Just my body, no tools, no machinery. And I shouldn't be able to do that with boulders. But we can get the right stuff in there, make it look right, reduce the propensity to get injured, reduce our maintenance cost, make it look better. It won't cost the town anything. And maybe our trucks, a little fuel to go to the farmer's place to pick them up. That's it. Our guys are eager to work. But we can make that better. And we can reduce the chance of getting hurt and we can actually protect it. My biggest concern was how it looked. That was the biggest, and that's what drew me over to it. It didn't look right. And I'm not just saying this for me, I wouldn't bring this to you if it was just me. Literally talked to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people everywhere I go. And I found one person who said that they're okay with it. And that's a start. But a lot of people agreed with me that that look doesn't look right for our town. So I thank you for your time tonight. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody.
Thank you. Anyone else this evening? Citizens' comments? Okay. Town board comments. We'll start with you tonight, Mr. Moore.
All right. For anyone who took the time to drive through the soup out there today, thank you very much for showing up. Drive safely home tonight, and our highway superintendent and the crew are gonna try to make sure our roads are safe, I'm sure. Other than that, have a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, enjoy your families again. And that's it for me. Thank you for watching PAC.
I can't believe a whole year has gone by. And once again, time flies. But all I would like to do is wish everybody really a Merry Christmas and a happy holiday season with your family.
Mr. Rowe, if you like, we can go over those issues that we didn't cover in the work session.
Okay. Yeah, I was, highway secretary position, we're coming up into, the new year. We budgeted for full-time, and I know we had a discussion about having to post job description, and I had reached out to the board a week and a half ago, and I didn't receive a response back, and I'm just wondering, is it up to the highway supervisor to post for the position? Do we even have to post for the position?
Okay, according to the contract, the union contract, we have to, the highway Teamsters with the highway labor agreement, we have to post for positions. Now, I didn't write that, I was a part of that negotiations, so in order to stay away from any type of grievances, which I don't think that this should be included, but it says all positions. So, because that's in there, we do have to post for it because it's already been negotiated. And as far as the position itself, Mr.
You can call me Cat.
What?
You can call me Cat.
Sweet Tack, he has to come up with a list of criteria or a list of job duties. Then we have to, the board has to take a look at it. Then we have to develop a job description. That job description has to be formally adopted. Then we send it down to county personnel, because county personnel has to put that on our roster. We send it down with a P100, they say it's okay, then we post it for, and we could do this in conjunction, we have to post it for 7 calendar days. Then we can look to appoint someone to that position. But we have to come up with a salary schedule and some criteria
for the position, because that's one of the criteria that county personnel needs for that person to be on our roster.
You should be checking the civil service, you should be checking the civil service roster as well.
Yeah,
County
yeah.
website.
That-
The
yeah.
job description would already be on there.
Yeah,
But
there-
if it's a title, depending on what the title is, if it's not enough labor class and it's testable, then
It's not. This isn't, it's not labor class, it's not testable, but each town is a little different. Some towns, they're administrative assistants, some towns they're secretaries, some towns they're clerks, some towns are clerk ones, this one's a secretary. So if that's what, if we're going to make it an appointment, not going to, it's an appointed position, and we want to keep it that way, then we have to come up with a criteria, because we're going from part-time to full-time, and we want to put it on the roster. So we have to come up with a job description as well as a salary range on there.
Right,
And we had talked about that.
right. Currently the county doesn't do the salaries, that's something that we'll have to do. We've gotten some areas close to us, kind of the ballpark, but, yeah, I couldn't find anywhere where it said that a promotion was a posted, needed to be posted. The person in the position already going from full, or part-time to full-time.
It's a new position. So when it's a new position, they get to bid on it. If you look at the language, I want to avoid any,
Oh, sure.
any possible grievances, and even, people can grieve something if there's a little bit of language, and with our current highway contract, there's a lot of ambiguity in there. So in order to save ourselves some a grievance and time and spending on negotiating that, all we have to do is post it, no big deal. It's still gonna be up to you. I mean, we're gonna post it and they can apply, and then you can still decide, hey, I want this person to be in there. You come to the board, and then we either say yes or no.
So did we, and maybe I forgot, so when we made the deputy clerk,
Yeah,
we posted
yes, we did,
the position.
because that's
Okay,
part of the
I
process.
didn't-
And you also asked about probation. That's part of the process. It's right in the contract. Any of those positions that are covered by the contract talk about probationary period, and they talk about full-time and part-time probation. That's in the contract.
So when the deputy clerk went to full-time this summer, the probation started over?
When she went to full, it wasn't in the summer, it was in,
March 7th.
Or
March
this
7th,
month?
yes.
Sorry.
Yep, she was on 26 weeks probation, yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Maybe just for the record, Ken, the title that your part-time person is in is what? What's the title?
It's secretary of the highway supervisor of, or supervisor highways.
So you're not attempting to change that title, you're going from part-time to full-time, but it's the same title?
Correct, I didn't think that I thought during our discussion it was gonna be the same title, just from part-time to.
Well, we can keep it same title, but we
Yeah.
still need, because it's full-time, we need to establish what the duties are. So that has to go down to the county.
Okay.
Because it's a change. Whenever it's a change, we have to send that down to the county on a P-100. It's a form that we have to fill out. Along with that is a job description and a salary schedule.
And that's appropriate, and, at the end of that whole thing of going through all of that, I'm expecting that this position will be a management confidential position. It's not tested,
is.
it's not union, and it's an at-will employee. That's what management confidential really means, at that level. So we'll see how it plays out, but, I will defer to you in terms of your recommendation for who you want in this position.
Right, but first
No, I agree, Bob.
we're still waiting for,
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the list, and then we'll take a look at it, and I'll get together with my secretary, take a look at the other criteria, see if we want to add some other criteria in there, and then establish the work hours, which they're going to be normal town business hours.
Correct.
and then we'll establish a salary for that, and then I'll give it to the board, and then we can vote on it.
How soon do you think we could get together on that? Are
I-
you fairly free?
That's up to you, Ken.
Well,
I mean,
I have all the information, I just was wondering if you were, next couple of days, that kind of thing, I could get over to you?
Yeah, sure,
Okay.
you let me know.
Alright.
I'll make it.
Now, what does posting, what qualifies as posting? Putting it up at town hall, putting it
No,
up in the highway?
They have,
department?
as long as you post it in all of the buildings, so we'd have to post it, well, there's nobody at the parks right now. So the only two places we would have to post it now is at the highway and at the town.
Okay. That takes care of my questions on that part. My next part was, the highway millings / spoils policy. And, we're coming up to January where we usually set that. So I just wanted to see where the board's at on, we had discussions about it. We looked into it, and do we want to change that, or do we just want to leave it the way it is?
No, I think it's clear we have to change it. I mean, that was our discussion, right? There has to be some change, so what we have to do is clearly define what we're talking about with millings. And I think that you and Jeff are on the highway committee, and Ken, I think between the three of you can come up with a policy. We'll take a look at it, and, if we want to make some modifications, we'll make some modifications, but give us something and we'll, but it should be clearly defined as far as, because there was a question about
I
milling.
wrote a 2-page recommendation, I'm not on that committee, but I think I covered a lot of the bases here. I would just hope that you and Jeff and Kevin could sit down and just.
We do as a town have a policy already that I dug up and went through and modified a little bit so that it'll, it's gonna have to be, obviously it's gonna have to be accepted by the board, but we're well into already having that all drawn out. There's,
Did you take a look at Mr. Geraci's
Yes.
recommendations?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, and there's also insurance indemnity forms that can be attached as far as, we bring it to somebody's home, they say, okay, I'd like you to place it here, we place it there, then they call and say, oh my God, you ran over my rose bushes. Well, it's more than just a he said, she said thing. I think we can tighten this up enough where we're gonna have,
I mean, if we're gonna redo it,
Right.
we should cover as much as we can think of, but it's clear that, at least it was clear to me that we have to do something with it.
And even if we're not done by the organizational meeting, so what, right? I mean, we can always add it later. I mean, I would take the time, maybe spend a few weeks in January to get this hammered out once, and then we get to all review it. And if we don't make it the organizational meeting, I don't care. You're not gonna sell any millings the first week of
Yeah,
January anyway.
not for a
Yeah,
while.
when do we start delivering them? Probably in March or April, right?
So, just do it right.
Okay. Other than that, I just wish everybody a happy holiday. Thanks for coming out on this night. And I do have one more thing. Mr. Birch alluded, talked about coming out to the meeting. We've spent a lot of money on AV equipment, and we don't seem to be using it. I have not attended a planning board meeting, so I don't know if they are. But, okay. Now, are we streaming meetings?
Capability to do that, yes.
Right, but we haven't yet for a planning board. I mean, I just sit here on a night like tonight where we have to do business and people wouldn't have to come out if we use this equipment that we spent money on. And I'm just wondering how the board feels about that.
Well, that's why we have them PAC-B come. They don't have to come out, they can watch it on PAC-B.
No, I know, but we spent, I don't know, $40,000 on cameras and a screen, that we can do that so people don't even have to come out and they could watch it live if we chose to do that part. And I think the town has most of that set up, if I remember correctly. So,
Okay, you wanna take that on and we can do that. I don't have a problem with that. If you wanna take that on,
okay,
sure.
I guess I'll get a crash course in operating the equipment.
Yeah, I don't. I mean,
Yeah,
Dina?
good luck with that guy, Ken.
So,
Good luck with the trainer. Sorry.
but we,
The voice of experience.
we do use that. In fact, next week we have training that any of the board members are welcome to come to. You don't have to because you can do it online if you choose to, but if you wanted to come, we got a full day of training next week, so.
I did have one thing for the town engineer. Something's coming up, and it might be going to the county legend, I'm not sure. Something about Hinkle Boulevard. Has anybody seen? I tried to read the resolution, and I didn't get the legalese on it.
They're gonna allow access, from the warehouse site onto Hinkle.
So that's what the county decided after. And we have no control over that in our
I
planning
mean,
board.
they'll have to, if they wanna put a driveway out, they'll have to come back to the planning board for a site plan.
Okay,
And
so
there
that,
will be additional traffic control measures that will be required.
right, because I thought the initial reason was it's too close to the intersections.
There will be additional traffic control measures that will be required if they move forward with that.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
I think your question was, do we have any control over them allowing curb cuts?
It's a county road.
Yeah.
Right. But I know when the issue was discussed at the planning, I just didn't know if the county moves that along, if our planning board still has a say or the county has the final say.
All right.
That is it. Thank you.
That's it. So I happened to go down to the Baldwinsville, the old Baldwinsville bus garage, and that's where the volunteers are holding the Christmas Bureau. I think that's what it's called, the Baldwinsville Christmas Bureau, or is that what it is, Baldwinsville Christmas Bureau? It's been going on for about 30 years that I wasn't aware. I mean, a lot of the ladies down there, and they were all ladies. I didn't see any men down there. They run that like a well-organized machine, I gotta say, and they had hundreds, if not thousands of toys and food and things like that, and they're all volunteers. And they start, I think they started a couple of months ago. I think they started like early November, and they hand out turkeys, and it's all volunteer. And I gotta say that it was impressive, really. I mean, the organization and the time commitment on all these ladies was really, really impressive. And I think that we as a community are lucky to have people like we do that do this type of volunteering in our community. And there's a lot of people that do that. You know, I mean, we have a lot of, you know, the Rotary, there's a number of organizations that do some really, really nice work in our community. So I just wanted to throw that out because these ladies have been doing it for 30 years and I really didn't even know it was down there. So they're not people that look for any type of accolades or anything like that. And I don't want to embarrass anybody because I knew most of the people. I mean, most of the ladies down there, a lot of the ladies I went to high school with. But I think that people should know what our community is doing. And I just want to give a general shout out to all those ladies down there that I was really impressed with what I saw the other day. And they should be congratulated. So, all right. That's all I have. Department head reports, Mr. Rivazigno?
I have nothing.
Mr. Merrill? Mr. Sweethead?
Yes, if I might, please be as bold to say drive slow, give the plows plenty of leeway, don't tailgate. They do oftentimes come to a slow and have to reverse, whether it's at an intersection or an entranceway to a neighborhood. So please give them plenty of room and keep your garbage cans in your driveway, please. Otherwise, they fly.
Plow across the road. Don't plow your snow.
Yes, and
Into the road or across?
don't blow your snow into the road with your machine. Have your plow guy drag it into the road. That's also not legal. Just so that everybody can get to work and home safely and we get our job done and everybody benefits. That's all.
Mr. Yeager.
Just two quick things. We did have a light pole hit on Deep Glade, at the intersection of Deep Glade and Drake's. That has been called in, should be cleaned up momentarily. The other thing is the petroleum bulk storage tank at the highway garage. That is gonna start, the removal of that tank is gonna start on Wednesday, it looks like right now.
Deep Glade Drakes, who hit it?
I don't even know. I got the call about it and I called our emergency contractor to have them, the light was still on. I can't keep the lights on that are up on the poles, but that light was still on. So I just wanted to get the power disconnected. It wasn't in the road. We'll have to call the sheriff and see if they got a police report on it.
Sheriff of the state.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody responded.
Was that today?
Yeah, it must have been this evening. You could see the tracks where the car ended up in the ditch. I don't know if they got themselves out or if they had to get towed or what happened, but that's our, first winter hit so far.
I'll follow up.
Thank you, Bob.
Anything else?
Nothing else.
Stockholm?
Yes, just one thing. So I recently went to the town clerk's regional meeting in Corning this past weekend, and the New York State Comptroller had a representative there who spoke about some things, policies and things that we needed to do. So I spoke with our town supervisor, and together we're planning a training for next Wednesday. There's some mandatory classes that all staff need to take, including sexual harassment and workplace violence, and some PESH training that's mandatory as well for highway. So just wanted to let you know the supervisor and I are working on policies, and hopefully we'll get a lot of people here to do that next Wednesday, but the building will be closed that day because it's going to be an all-day training. Would you like to add to that, Mr. Supervisor?
Ask what?
Would you like to add to that, Mr. Supervisor?
Just, no, it
Okay.
was pretty comprehensive, but we're gonna put it on our website as well. But, yeah, to make sure people understand, next week it's gonna be closed, because it's a full day of training for everybody. And we try to get it when we can get as many people there as we can. Hopefully it doesn't snow and we can get the highway there. If not, then we'll set another date aside, because there's probably gonna be one or two people that won't be able to do it, and then we'll set it aside for that, so.
And we're going to make good use of our $40,000 AV equipment.
That's right, we're gonna be
That
using
day?
that, so good thing you're gonna be here, because I don't know how to use it. So,
What time does that start Wednesday?
9 a.m. sharp.
and we have an agenda.
Yeah.
We have an agenda too, so. Okay, anything else?
That's all. Thank you.
All right. So we'll move on to the regular agenda items. May I have a motion to advertise for bids for tree and stump removal at 8439 Smoky Hollow Roads. Bids will be due in the town clerk's office by January 5th, 2023 at 10 a.m.
I'll move that.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Is this for specific trees or just an in general contract?
No, there's specific trees I've marked them. Most of them are ash. There's a few others that are dead. I don't know exactly what they are.
Probably an ash. Probably, yeah. Well, I'm glad you're doing that. Oh, you got it.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. May I have a motion to advertise for bids for chain link fence installation at 8439 Smoky Hollow Road. Bids will be due in the town clerk's office by January 5th, 2023 at 10 a.m.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. May I have a motion to hold a public hearing on January 5th, 2023 at 7 p.m. to consider raising the senior citizen and disability exemption income levels from a maximum income of $29,900 to $37,400. This resolution shall authorize the town clerk to advertise for same.
I'll move it. I will second that.
Any discussion? Okay, if you hadn't seen, there was an article in the Messenger on the front page. Van Buren to increase income limits for senior tax exemptions. So if you want to know more about it, it's in this week's messenger. But what this will do is, this will conform, will put the town equal to what the county's exemption is right now. And all it's going to do, if we pass this resolution, is to increase, or to decrease our income by about $14,000. So, but $29,900 to $37,400, that's going to save a lot of people in that income level some money, and that's the income level that for seniors, they're our most vulnerable population other than our kids. So I think we should do something to, as much as we can, to help them out with their tax burden. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. May I have a motion to hold a public hearing on January 5th, 2023 at 7 p.m. to consider proposed local law number 1 of 2023 to adopt the New York State Uniform Construction Codes, Fire, Building, and Energy. This resolution shall authorize the town clerk to advertise for same.
I'll move it.
I will second that.
Any discussion? For the public, Mr. Yeager, you want to explain what that is?
Sure. So the New York State adopted amendments to the fire building and protection, fire building and energy codes of the state. We have to adopt them. It's a mandate from the state that they become part of our code so that we can enforce them. Not huge changes. Some of the things that were exempt from a building permit now will no longer be exempt from a building permit. The biggest one being swing sets, like residential swing sets, playground equipment will require a building permit. That'll be the one that affects most people. Quite a few changes for new construction energy standards, but that's, statewide, that's just a mandated thing that's got to happen. And the only way we can enforce it is if we adopt this local law.
So with the swing sets, does that include any swing set, like the Fisher-Price plastic ones?
I think anything that would be permanent, so like anything that's anchored to the ground.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, anything that would be anchored to the ground would have to have a permit now.
Okay.
So like a wooden place.
Yeah, like a wooden place that like,
Slides.
Yeah.
Swing sets.
Yeah. And the average homeowner probably is never gonna come to us, but we're gonna have installers, people that install these things that are gonna know that this is part of the code now, and they're gonna be coming in for permits.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. May I have a motion to approve the budget modification form submitted by the comptroller for the highway department to cover costs for repairing trucks for the upcoming winter season and to cover cost of last fuel invoice.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? And these were budget modifications that you asked the comptroller to do.
Correct.
Correct.
Yep, the first being a couple of repairs that were, ended up being more than we thought. And then obviously the fuel bill was, the gap needs to be filled from the rise in price as to what we had budgeted, so. Yep.
Ken, do you know off the top of your head, it's not your fault, fuel prices dropped the way they did. How does 2023 look in terms of how much money we budgeted for fuel based on how you're ending up this year?
With any luck, it'll go down.
I know, but right now, if things stay the same, are we...
Oh, yeah, our percentage increase for this year would cover, hopefully, the fluctuations, as long as it's not, $1 a week like we saw this past summer.
Okay, Diesel's been tough because
Right.
it really hasn't come down like regular gas.
Right.
Because they're not refining it, they're not, so it's keeping the price high. And a lot of use, so it's a roll of the dice.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. May I have a motion to accept the dedication of the storm and sanitary sewer for River Grove Phase 2B subdivision? The developer has submitted the required securities.
I'll move that.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? You looked that over, right, Mr. Yeager?
Yes.
We're all good with that?
Yes.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. May I have a motion to authorize the town supervisor to sign the lease agreement with Baldwinsville PAC-B Inc. for the space located within 8220 Loop Road. So, never mind. Never mind.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. May I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the lease agreement with the Baldwinsville Volunteer Center for the space located within 8220 Loop Road.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Just so you can explain, because we didn't get the copies right to
Yeah.
the public. You know,
Yeah, we've been approached by PAC-B and the Volunteer Center to lease the space currently being leased by Home Hardened Community. And she has agreed to allow them to sign a lease with us, and she would just void her lease. That would be a benefit to both the PAC-B and to the Volunteer Center because we're going to keep that fee static for the next 3 years of the lease, and which is currently at $300 for the Volunteer Center and $900 for the remainder of the space. But it also would benefit the town because they are both 501c3s, and because of that, we would save a substantial amount of school tax that we have to currently pay because Home Hardened Community is not a 501c3. So it's a win for everybody across the board.
I just have a question. Do we have to, is there a market rate rule? Like, I don't know what the market rate is.
No.
So, okay.
Reasonable.
We're not,
Whatever's reasonable.
okay, I just wanted to make sure.
That's the measurement, yeah, there's no.
Okay,
And one of the other things, these are both 501c3s, so they're not making any, they're not in the business of making money. And they provide a service to the community, both of those organizations. I think it's a good idea for us to get out of leasing space to businesses because now we get out of the business of competing with other entities around the town that are looking to lease their space. So I think it's a good thing all the way around. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. I would like to go into executive session. Oh, I'm sorry, yep, we got one more. Motion I, and this is one that we had to do because there was with our town engineer now working for a private firm, we had to do an adjustment to our fees that we're charging to the different districts. So may I have a motion to approve a change to the following fees through 12/31/22 when the contracted town engineering firm works on special districts, the rate charged shall be in line with the per hour rate charged by CHA according to the most recent contract authorized by the town board. Plan reviews chargeable to developer escrow accounts funded by the developers and constituents. The rate for such work shall be set at the same rate contractual per hourly rates.
I'll move it.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Well, can I just ask a couple of questions?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I understand why we're doing this, and it
Yeah.
all makes sense. So, but at some point in 2023, are we going to review these rates, or are we just going to go forward? Because this is basic, I'm not against this, but
Yeah.
it's a new set of rates that the districts are going to have to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think, well, certainly we have to, because this contract only goes through 12/31, then we have our organizational meeting. So I think we have to decide, okay, are we going to continue with a contractor? Are we going to look to hire a new engineer? I think those are discussions we need to have.
Yeah, but besides that.
But certainly we would have to do something in the interim until.
Yeah, because I just don't know what the formula was, and maybe Al, I don't want to belabor the issue, but we charge a certain amount when Al was an employee, but that didn't cover all of his salary, so I just want to make sure I understand what we're doing here in the, because if the rates are going up, it's because there's a higher cost.
Yes, and we have a contract with CHA
Yes.
right now, because we don't have a town engineer.
Right.
We have to go with the rate that we are being charged from CHA for Mr. Yeager's services. And it's not only his, I mean, if we use a lesser, an engineer that may have what are the titles of?
So just an unlicensed engineer would be
Okay.
$100 an hour rather than.
Yeah.
So there's instances where
It's saving.
sometimes they'll be saving money
Yeah.
over an increased cost.
Right, so we have to take a look at that. But we had to do this we had a specific rate in there, and we had to at least be consistent what we're being charged. In order for our controller to pay it, you know, she wouldn't do it without this resolution, so. Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried.
Mr. Supervisor, can I have that, your
Yep.
notes?
Yeah.
That was a long resolution.
Okay, so I would like to go into executive session to talk about a specific work history of a highway employee. I have a motion to go into executive session at 7:40, or 7:42.
I'll move that.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, so we're in an executive session.